So are you also still writing blogs for all of your podcasts? Then this video is definitely for you. So hello all, welcome back to Pabbly Connect, and in this video we are going to understand how to build an AI agent to auto-publish podcast blogs. So over here, I used to regularly publish podcasts, but writing them in blogs is such a time-consuming task. So to solve this problem, I've simply created this amazing automation where what is going to happen is that as soon as I add my audio file, which is my podcast, into my Google Drive account, automatically my AI agent is going to transcribe the audio file. And further, using that same transcription, we are going to generate the blog content using our AI agent. And further, we can post that blog content on our WordPress account. So to do this, we are simply going to create a connection between Google Drive, my AI agent, which is OpenAI, and then WordPress. And to create this connection without knowing any programming or coding language, we are going to use Pabbly Connect. It is an amazing automation software. So if you also want to create this amazing automation, then for that you have to come with me towards my screen. Welcome to my screen. So in this video, I'll walk you on how to build an AI agent that automatically publishes podcast blogs. So once you release a new podcast episode, the AI agent will generate a blog post based on the same content, making it easier for you to share the key takeaways with your audience. It will publish the blog automatically on your WordPress account, saving you time and helping your content reach a wider audience. So let's get started. So to do this, we are simply going to open a new tab and look for the landing page of Pabbly Connect simply by searching pabbly.com/connect. So I'm simply going to search for pabbly.com/connect in my browser. And now it is opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect. And after opening the landing page of Pabbly Connect, over here we are going to get two options. One is sign in and the another one is sign up for free. So if you are a new user, you can click on this sign up for free and you are going to get 100 of tasks free every month to explore the application. But over here I am an existing user, so I'm simply going to click on this sign in, and now it is opening all Pabbly apps. And over here you can see all the tools and applications offered by Pabbly. But in today's video we are going to use Pabbly Connect because I want to integrate multiple applications. So I'm simply going to click on this access now right over here to access my Pabbly Connect account. And as soon as we're going to click on this access now, it is opening the dashboard of my Pabbly Connect account, and over here you can see the task allotted, the task consumed, and the remaining two. Also over here you can see there's a folder section, so you can create multiple folders in which you can save the workflows. All right, so over here if you want to know how to create a folder, you can go towards this create new folder button and click on this learn more to learn more about how to create the folder. Either you can enter the folder name, select the parent folder, and create from here too. All right, so as you can see, now to start with our automation, we are simply going to click on this button which says create workflow, and now it is asking me for the workflow name and the folder I want to save the workflow in. So over here I want to save my workflow in this folder which says automations, and I want to name my workflow as how to build an AI agent to auto-publish podcast blogs. And then we are simply going to click on this button which says create. And with this, we have successfully created our workflow right over here. And now it is opening the most important window of our automation, which is our workflow window. So this is the most important window because we have trigger and action in this. Trigger and actions are the two main principles on which our workflow is going to run. Trigger means when this happens, and action means do this. So by this, you can understand that the actions are response towards the commands given by our trigger, and that's the particular reason that we can have only a single trigger but multiple actions following the commands of our trigger in a particular workflow. And to get started, we are simply going to select our trigger application. So for my trigger application, I'm simply going to look for Google Drive and select it right over here. So I'm simply going to search for Google Drive and select it, and now it is asking me for the trigger event. So over here for the trigger event, I'm simply going to select it as new file in a specific folder. And now we are simply going to click on this button which says connect, and now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your Google Drive account with a Pabbly Connect's workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now we are going to click on this blue button which says sign in with Google. And now it is asking me to select the Gmail account with the help of which I want to connect my Google Drive account. So I'm simply going to select select my Gmail account right over here. And now Pabbly is asking me for some permission, so I'm simply going to click on this allow and give Pabbly all the permissions it is asking for, because my data is secure with Pabbly. You can also click on allow. Pabbly is safe, and yes, with this we have successfully connected our Google Drive account with our Pabbly Connects workflow. Alright, so now what I want is that whenever I add a file in this specific folder which is named podcast, automatically this workflow should get triggered. So I'm just going to select the same folder right over here, which is podcast. So I'm just going to search for the same and select it right over here. But while selecting the folder, you have to keep in mind that the folder which you are selecting should be a shareable one. So you must be wondering, what is this a shareable one? So what you have to do is you have to go towards the folder name, then share, and over here you have to once again go towards this share. And over here for the general access, the access should be anyone with the link and editor right over here. It is really important to give the access of anyone with the link and editor, because if you're not going to give this permission, the AI agent will not be able to read your document. Alright, so as you can see that it should be anyone with the link and editor only. And now with this you can make your folder a shareable one. I've already made this a shareable one. And now after selecting the folder, we are simply going to click on this save and send test request. But before clicking on this save and send test request, I'll just let you know that Google Drive is a pooling based application. So pooling based application means that these application will check for new data in certain amount of time. It is not going to check for new data instantly. And over here in the case of Google Drive, it is saying the trigger will check for new data in 10 minutes. So as soon as I'm just going to click on this save and send test request, Pabbly is going to capture the last response or the latest response made. Alright, so first we're going to do the test submission, then only we're going to click on this save and send test request. First, I'm just going to add the podcast file right over here in my Google Drive account, and then only I can click on this save and send test request so that Pabbly can capture the response for the same. So I'm just going to open my Google Drive account and we're going to add the file right over here. So I'm just going to go towards this new button and then file upload. And then we're going to look for a file in the downloads section. So I'm just going to go towards the downloads, and over here you can see that this is a MP3 file. So I'm simply going to add this file right over here in my Google Drive account. So as you can see that I've successfully uploaded this file in my Google Drive account. So this is the podcast of which I want to create the blog today. Alright, so over here you can see that this is the podcast.
So my next question is about connecting with the customer.
Alright, so we are going to create the blog of the same podcast only. So now after adding this podcast right over here, I'm simply going to click on this button which says save and send test request. And yes, you can see that we have successfully captured the response, same podcast which we added right now. You can also see the file name right over here. So yes, with this we have successfully completed our trigger step. And now what is going to happen is that whenever I add a podcast right over here in my Google Drive, automatically this workflow is going to get triggered. Now we're going to move on forward towards the next step. What I want is I want to build an AI agent to auto publish podcast blogs. But first what we're going to do is I'm just going to first convert this podcast which is in MP3 format. I'm just going to transcribe this podcast, alright, so that we can further give it to our AI agent to generate the podcast blogs. So I'm just going to go towards this action and select my action application as OpenAI. So I'm just going to use OpenAI only in order to get the transcript of this podcast. And now for the action event, we are simply going to use this generate transcript whisper, and then we're simply going to click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your OpenAI account with your Pabbly Connects workflow, you can simply click on this select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the token. And to get this token, we are simply going to follow the help text, and it is saying kindly visit your OpenAI API key page to get the API key that you need to enter here. So I'm simply going to go towards my OpenAI API key page to get the API key. And now I'm just going to create a new secret key. For that, I'm just going to go towards this create new secret key, and now it is asking me for the key name. So let's say I'm just going to name my key as podcast right over here. And after naming my key, we are simply going to select the project and click on this create secret key button. And now over here my key has been created, so I'm simply going to copy this key and then we're going to paste it right over here in our workflow. And now you can see that now after pasting this API key, we are simply going to click on this button which says save. And with this we have successfully connected our OpenAI account with our Pabbly Connects workflow. And now it is asking me to enter the audio file URL over here. So over here you have to keep in mind that the file URL should be only a audio file which is MP3. If you have an MP4 file, you can convert it to MP3 and then enter it right over here. My file is MP3 only, so I'm simply going to enter the audio file URL right over here. But we are not going to enter the file URL manually or by copy pasting it like this, but instead we're going to map it. So you must be wondering what is mapping. So mapping is a method by Pabbly which means inserting the data from the previous step. And as you know, our previous step was the trigger step where we selected Google Drive as our trigger application. So we are simply going to map the details from the response of our trigger application only. And as soon as we're going to map these details, automatically my details will turn dynamic and change with every new response received. Alright, so I'm simply going to map this audio file URL right over here, which is the web content link. And now I'm simply going to select the model as Whisper right over here. You can select any of your choice and then we simply have to click on this button which says save and send test request. Alright, so over here you have to keep this important notes also in mind that the file uploads are currently limited to 25 MB only and the rest. Alright, and over here you can see that it has successfully generated me the transcript of my podcast. And over here you can see, so my next question is about connecting with the customers. This was the first line of our podcast, right? So yes, you can see with this we have successfully generated the transcript of our podcast. And now what we're going to do is, using the same transcript only, we are going to generate the blogs. For that I'm just going to add another action step. And now for the action application, once again I'm just going to simply select it as OpenAI. But this time for the action event I'm simply going to select it as structured AI output chat GPT and click on this connect. And now I've recently connected my OpenAI account, so I'm simply going to click on this select existing connection and then save. And now it is asking me to select the AI model, so you can select any of your choice. I'm simply going to select it as GPT-4o mini. Now it is asking me for the user, so over here you have to select the user role, system role or the assistant role. So over here what is going to happen is that whichever role you're going to select, the AI agent is going to respond accordingly. Not only this, if I select the role as user, it is asking me for the content user right over here. But if I select the role as system, it is going to ask me for the content system right over here. But what if I want to add all of these roles right over here? Then I can simply switch on this mapping button and enter the comma separated value like user, comma system right over here. Then it is going to give me a layered response using all of these roles, which is system, user and assistant. But today I'm just going to keep it as role as user only because I only want to generate the content as user basis. And now it is asking me for the content user. So over here we have to enter the prompt which we want to give to our AI agent. And yes, over here you can see that I've simply entered my prompt, which is write a detailed and engaging blog post based on the transcription of the podcast episode. So over here I'm simply going to map the podcast transcription from the response of our OpenAI. So yes, you can see that I've simply mapped this podcast transcription also. Now we're going to move on further. It is asking me for the response format. So over here what I want is, I want to generate the blog title and the content both. Alright, so that's why we're going to use this response format so that we can get this title and the content in two separate fields and we can map it further. So what we're going to do is nothing, we don't have to do much. I'm just going to copy this example right from below and paste it right over here. And after pasting this, we are simply going to erase this your JSON schema, because right over here I'm just going to enter my JSON schema. So you must be wondering from where we're going to get this JSON schema. So you don't have to worry, we are going to get this JSON schema without knowing any programming or coding language. For that I'm just going to open a URL which we're going to attach in the description box below. You can also open the same URL, which is this platform.openai.com/docs/guides/structured-outputs. So you have to open this URL, all right? Don't have to worry. You are going to get this URL in the description box below. You can open it directly from there. And now what we have to do is we have to simply click on this button which says generate. And now it is saying describe how do you want the model to respond, and we'll generate a JSON schema. So it is automatically going to generate the JSON schema. I only have to give the prompt. So what I want is I want the blog title. So I'm just going to enter blog title right over here. So the blog title format is text. So I'm just going to add a new line and write type of text. So we have to give the format to, and now I'm just going to give the description of what I want, which is give me the blog title. So I'm just going to enter the description. Now we're going to move on further, add a new line. The next thing which I want is the blog content. So I'm just going to enter blog content right over here, select the format which is type of text. We're going to give the description which is give me blog content. So I'm just going to enter this right over here, and after entering this we are simply going to click on this create, and now my AI agent is going to generate me the JSON schema. We don't have to do anything. We are simply going to copy this JSON schema and paste it right over here in our workflow. And after pasting this JSON schema, we're going to move on further. Over here it is asking me for many another details. So all of these details are not the required details. If you wish, you can definitely fill out these details to get a more tailored response. But all of these details are not the required details. So I'm simply going to click on this button right over here which says save and send test request. And now my AI agent is going to generate me the blog title and the content too based on the podcast transcription which we given it. And now you can see that my AI agent has successfully generated me the blog title and the content. Over here you can see the title which it has generated, and also you can see the content which it has generated. So yes, now we have successfully generated the title and the content both, and now I'm just going to publish this blog on my WordPress account. So I'm just going to add another action step right over here, and now for the action application I'm simply going to select it as WordPress. So I'm just going to look for WordPress right over here, and as you can see the same, so we are simply going to select it. And now for the action event I'm simply going to select it as create a post and click on this connect. And now it is asking me to add a new connection or select an existing connection. So if you have already connected your WordPress account, you can go towards the select existing connection and then save. But if you haven't, you have to follow me, click on add a new connection, and now it is asking me for the username, email or the password of my WordPress account. So I'm simply going to enter the credentials of my WordPress account right over here. Now we're going to move on further, and now it is asking me for the base URL. And to get this base URL, I'm simply going to open my WordPress account, and first we're going to copy this URL right from here and paste it right over here in our Pabbly Connect's workflow. But now it is saying that we have to enter the URL only till this. So what we're going to do is I'm simply going to erase all of this not required right from here. I'm simply going to enter the URL till this only. You have to follow this help text, all right? If your WordPress site uses a common login URL, use the main URL only. So this is my main URL, which is the base URL. So I've added this much only. After this, everything is not the required, so you can erase it. And after entering this base URL, we are simply going to click on this button which says save. And yes, with this we have successfully connected our WordPress account with our Pabbly Connect's workflow. And now it is asking me to select the post type, so I'm simply going to keep it as post only. Now it is asking me for the post title, so yes, my AI agent has generated it, so I'm simply going to map it right over here. And now I'm simply going to map the post content to right over here. Now we're going to move on further. It is asking me for many another details, so we are only going to fill in the details which are required, like the status. I'm just going to keep it as publish. If you wish, you can definitely keep it as future and schedule it for future. You can draft, pending or private too. Now we're going to move forward. It is asking me for many another details, so I'm only going to fill in or select the details which are required. So over here it is saying featured media ID. So over here it is asking me to add an image in this blog, so no, I don't wish to add any. So I'm just going to switch on this mapping button and erase this media ID right over here, because I don't want to add any media right over here in my blog. So that's why I've kept this field as blank by simply switching on this mapping button. Now it is asking me for many other details, so I'm just going to keep the details as same only and click on this blue button which says save and send test request. And as soon as we're going to click on this, yes, you can see that we have received the positive response that with this we have successfully published this blog on our WordPress account. So I'm simply going to open my WordPress account and check for the new blog published. So I'm just going to open my WordPress account. I'm just going to go towards the dashboard of my WordPress account right from here. And after coming over here towards the dashboard, I'm just going to go towards this all post section. And over here, I'm just going to check for the new post. And yes, you can see a new post has been posted. So I'm just going to go towards this view. And over here, you can see that with the help of the same title and this same blog content, which my AI agent generated, a blog has been posted on my WordPress account. So yes, with this, we have successfully completed our work. workflow. And now what is going to happen is that as soon as I add my podcast right over here in my Google Drive, within 10 minutes this workflow is going to get triggered. Further, my AI agent is going to generate the transcript of the same, and then my AI agent is going to generate the blog content and the title with the help of the same transcript and create a post in my WordPress account. All of this is going to happen in backend. We don't have to come back and again to our workflow to click on save and send test request. So yes, with this we have successfully completed this video and this workflow too. And now if you have any questions related to the video or the workflow, you can directly comment on this video. And for your reference, I'll just clone this workflow and share the workflow link in the description box so that you can access my workflow. Go and try this amazing automation for your own business too. Thank you for watching.
So not only these applications, but with the help of Pabbly Connect, you can integrate many more applications. So if you have any doubts, you can reach us at support@pabbly.com. If you have any queries, you can reach us at forum.pabbly.com. And if you have any pricing related issues, you can follow this website. And if you find our videos helpful, do like and subscribe our channel. Thank you for watching.